which, by the way, how annoying is The View getting? God, they're insufferable, that lot, aren't they? It's just a side effect. But she told Joy Behar that she's scared as heck.
Piers Morgan decided to destroy The View, and he didn't just throw a little shade, he brought a whole thunderstorm. But what made Piers Morgan so mad? Let me show you.
And it's this permanently offended, snowflakey, cancel culture mob who descend like a pack of hornets on anything they can get themselves into, trying to suppress everyone's right to an opinion.
For years, Piers Morgan has been one of the loudest voices against cancel culture. He's called it lunacy, dangerous for free speech, and even a form of fascism. He's ranted about how it's ruining open debate and turning people into cowards, scared to speak their minds. Sounds pretty serious, right? But here's where things get interesting. Morgan, the guy who wants to wipe out cancel culture, suddenly seems pretty okay with canceling ABC's The View. In his New York Post column, he straight up called for the show to be canceled, blasting it as a pointless, irrelevant, Trump-loathing joke. Quite harsh, isn't it? But is there some truth in what he's saying?
The kind and progressive voices at The View reacted to her appointment like this.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Morgan's biggest complaint is that The View has become nothing more than a daily hate fest against Trump. According to him, the hosts don't even try to hide their disappointments. They openly mock and tear into him every single day. And it's not just about his policies, it's deeply personal at this point. He then claimed that, "In my worst nightmares, I find myself trapped on a desert island with the hosts of The View," he wrote. The nightmares are long, torrid, mentally scarring, and always involve the exact same pattern. And then went after each host one by one. Morgan didn't hit any breaks, and he went straight for Joy Behar, calling her out for allegedly wearing blackface to a Halloween party and then trying to pretend it never happened.
Is this Joy speaking? The same Joy? The same Joy that paraded around in blackface not too long ago? Come on, Joy, I don't think you should be asking these questions. I am an African American.
Excuse me.
And let's talk about Alyssa Farah Griffin. Morgan apparently said that she worked for Trump, called him a brilliant president, and now suddenly he's the worst president ever. Morgan called her a flip-flopper. And honestly, where's the lie? How do you go from singing his praises to acting like he's the villain in a bad movie? Was it a change of heart or just a career move? At this point, is The View just a political gossip club, or are they actually trying to inform people? Because right now, it's looking more like a reality show where the plot changes depending on who's trending. And according to Hostin, the real flip-flopper isn't anyone from The View.
The operative word is authentic for me. And I think Nikki Haley has been inauthentic from day one. She has flipped. This is a woman that I don't find authentic at all.
And I was referring just to this moment, by the way.
I'm referring to this moment, too.
You don't think that was a real emotion?
You don't think it was real?
And I think that is something.
Serving in counterterrorism.
Well, I think that there's something that that military families do go through. I come from a military family, as many of us do, and I don't trust her authenticity.
Sonny Hostin, here she comes again. He said she unfairly accused Nikki Haley, who is an American politician and diplomat, of faking emotions about her husband's military deployment. He also called her a hypocrite for criticizing Haley for not using her real first name when she doesn't use hers either. Now, who's left? How can we forget Whoopi Goldberg, folks? Without her, the drama is always incomplete. Piers Morgan brought up Whoopi Goldberg's past controversies, like when she was suspended from The View after making comments about the Holocaust that sparked a huge backlash. But that's not all. Whoopi's no stranger to making headlines. Remember when she defended Roman Polanski back in the day? Yeah, that stirred the pot too. I mean, can you believe it? The whole thing felt less like an interview and more like a roast session. No wonder people have mixed feelings about The View. Morgan later argued that instead of fostering real debate, the show has turned into a one-sided echo chamber, where the only thing that matters is how one-sided you are.
Last week you called white Republican women cockroaches.
Actually, I didn't. And
you said they're acting like cockroaches.
I used it in a similar. Let me answer that.
Okay.
I used a metaphor. Here's what I'm going to add.
And let me tell you that people are absolutely on Morgan's side, saying he's completely right. Even if you're no fan of Trump, it's obvious that The View has a pretty clear bias. If the goal was to bring different viewpoints together, well, that's not really happening, right, folks? But some critics argue that, is Morgan doing the same thing? And the others are questioning if The View actually needs to be canceled, or just, I don't know, Less like a never-ending left-wing therapy session? Wouldn't it be more interesting if they had real debates instead of just roasting Republicans on a loop? Or is this just how talk shows work now, where nobody actually debates? They just pick sides and start swinging. People can't seem to understand his point of view and questions if the view needs to change. And honestly, he's not totally wrong. The show leans so far left, it's practically doing the limbo. Conservative guests walk in with a thought, and then boom, they're in a verbal WWE match without even knowing they signed up. It's not really a debate, it's more like an intellectual roast session where one side's holding the mic and the other's just hoping for a commercial break. You've seen it, someone tries to make a point, and suddenly it's just triggered a group chat argument in real life. People watching at home are literally in shock. Some even joke, The View is just a roast session show people watch for fun, and nothing is really serious about them. At this point, having an actual calm debate on The View would be the plot twist of the year. Forget surprise guests, just let someone finish a sentence without getting side-eyed into oblivion. Now, that would be revolutionary. So, what's the answer? Maybe you should think about it while I take you to the next drama. Piers Morgan and his crew went in on The View when Kamala Harris appeared, and let's just say it wasn't exactly a nice one. Piers Morgan literally started it by saying this.
One of my favorite people, Kamala Harris, not for the reason she would like to be one of my favorite people. She appeared on The View today, which, by the way, how annoying is The View getting? God, they're insufferable, that lot.
Did you hear that big swing at The View, calling it insufferable? Even though he's not exactly alone in that opinion, this was bold to say in the media once again. True that the show has built a reputation for being a loud battleground where the hosts spend half the time talking over each other and the other half nodding in agreement like they just cracked the Da Vinci Code. Morgan's jab wasn't just about the annoying factor, it was a swipe at how The View has basically become a political comfort blanket for Democrats. After that, he played a clip of Kamala and Joy asking her some intolerable question about Trump winning again, and then threw in the word crazies to describe his supporters.
Are you scared, first of all, what could happen if Trump ever became, God forbid, president again? And what are you going to do to stop the crazies?
I am scared as heck.
Why? Because no matter how Harris answered, she was walking on a political minefield. If she agreed too strongly, she'd risk distancing moderate voters who don't see all Trump supporters as crazy. If she pushed back against Joy's wording, she'd risk upsetting the very audience that came to hear her bash Trump. So what did she do? She played it safe, nodded along, and focused on how everyone should be scared.
Which is why I'm traveling our country. You know, there's an old saying that there are only two ways to run for office. Either without an opponent or scared. So on all of those points, yes, we should all be scared.
Because Joy knew exactly what she was doing. This wasn't a tough question in the sense of pressing Harris on policy failures or challenges. And Morgan's frustration? It's probably because he sees it as less of a talk show and more of a one-sided political pep rally with a studio audience that claps like trained seals anytime a Republican gets dragged.
Who may support Trump. This reminded me of Hillary Clinton with her basket of deplorables jibe about what is, in reality, tens of millions of Americans.
Listen, you can't compare it to Hillary Clinton because...
But here's where it gets spicy. Morgan and his panel were not buying it. First off, they called out the fact that Harris didn't even try to correct Joy Behar when she referred to Trump supporters as the crazies. That immediately gave flashbacks to Hillary Clinton's infamous basket of deplorables comment, which, let's be real, did not go over well back in 2016. But some on the panel argued that Clinton's comment was at least a clear and thought-out statement, whereas Harris's response was more of a jumbled, nervous mess.
You might get off on a tangent or not know what you're talking about. You and I have discussed this, feelings.
Yeah.
You can discuss feelings. I'm afraid, so I can't be wrong. No one can argue with...
And then came the roasting. The panel mocked the idea that the Vice President of the United States, someone with one of the most powerful positions in the world, was supposedly terrified of a 77-year-old man with a comb-over. One commentator sarcastically pointed out that Harris has the backing of one of the strongest military forces on Earth, yet she's acting like Trump is some unstoppable horror villain. Instead of offering real policy solutions, they argued, she's just leaning into the fear narrative, saying, "I'm afraid," over and over again, like that's a campaign strategy.
She was also asked if she agreed with Nikki Haley that America had never been a racist country, and she skillfully, I thought, avoided saying, yes, America has been racist. She totally avoided that. It was a little bit word salad, but her job now is...
But here's where the debate gets interesting. Some panelists pushed back, saying Harris actually handled herself well, not necessarily because she was inspiring, but because she didn't step into any major traps. They pointed out that she avoided saying anything too controversial, even when she was asked about race in America. She didn't flat out call America a racist country, nor did she deny it, which shows she's playing it safe. Maybe too safe. One person even said that, right now, her biggest job isn't to shine, it's to not mess up.
Winning issue that the Democrats have, which is abortion. There are a lot of women voters, even GOP women voters, who are mad as hell about Roe versus Wade going away. Doesn't matter what you think about it.
And then there's the real strategy at play here. 1 minute, you've got panelists trying to sound deep, and the next, it's as if they're reading fortune cookies with bad advice. Take Harris, for example. She might not be the most charismatic speaker. Sometimes it feels like she's buffering mid-sentence. But hey, maybe that's the plan. Maybe her role is just to show up, say a few words, throw in a dramatic pause like she's about to drop some wisdom, and then nothing. Meanwhile, Piers Morgan is over here treating The View like it should be treated, and many people are supporting him for mocking The View and canceling them, and the wild part, they don't even notice. At this point, it's less of a talk show and more of a useful tool to boost your views by hating on others. But what about you? Do you think Piers Morgan goes too far, or is he just calling it like he sees it? What's the real strategy here? Fear-mongering or just keeping the base fired up? Should The View be canceled or just balanced out with some actual debate? Do let us know your views in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.